Okay, and we are live. We are live on YouTube, Psychic Cafe.
Woo!
Welcome everybody. Woo! Hey, no intro music. That's because, yep, those of you that are watching us all the time know that Blog Talk's been down for a few days. So we are not radio simulcasting. So when you see in the scroll the phone number, don't call in because the phone banks, the 50 line phone bank is down. So we can't take your phone call. I'm sorry. But you can join us in the chat here, ask questions in the chat. Hey, this is a special show though, because we have the fabulous Stephanie Dreams on. So Stephanie is a certified,
Hi there.
she is a certified Biddy tarot reader and a tarot guild member and a certified tarot reader through the guild. I love it. Hi, Steph. Welcome to the show. And of course, last but not least, I cannot um, fail to mention that my guest co-host and helping me with the interview is the fabulous Pamela Steele, all the way from that foreign land of Canada, way up there. Yes.
Hooray!
Yes, and you know her from things such as the Steel Wizard Tarot. That's
hmm
right. And the Eternal Seeker Oracle. I can never say it right. Eternal Seeker Oracle. That's right. So famous author, decorator, artist, certified tarot master. Oh my God, we could go on, but we won't because we need to get to the actual show. So
Well,
does everybody have their?
when I
When you
grow
grow?
up, I'd like to be like Pamela.
Oh yes. Oh yeah.
No, no, you
We
don't.
all
Trust me.
want that. We all want that. Everybody have their coffee and tea. We are in the cafe. Come on in, pull up a chair, hang out with us for a while. Who's in the chat, by the way? Anybody, any of our regulars in the chat yet? I see
Uh,
Dan's in there and Michelle and Rhonda's in there, of course. And hi, everybody. Good morning, Daxamillion. Good morning, Miss Pamela. Good morning, Stephanie. Welcome, Stephanie, Dan says. That was Michelle with the Daxamillion in there. Woo! So this is going to be fun. We are talking about, what are we talking about?
come on. Stephanie's new or Stephanie
Enchanted
bite him.
Shadows Oracle Deck. Yes, that is what we are chatting about. In fact, I popped the slide up here so that I could turn that on and you can see some of the cards. Let's see if I turn speaker mode on, the folks out in YouTube land should be able to see the images bigger now. And I love the colors, Stephanie, because I know you did this deck on purpose to match the colors of our website, right? With the purples.
Of course.
Of course. Wow, it is just gorgeous. But hey, before we go into that, let's rewind and go back to the very beginning. Like, how did you even get into reading tarot? We always want to know
Into
that.
reading tarot. So I actually started with an oracle deck first, and it was an art deck. I use that term to mean that instead of having all the same card backs, there are different art pieces that were the card backs. And then the fronts
Oh,
of the
that's
cards
cool.
had descriptions, um, really focused on compassion and self love, self confidence, and those things. And the art on the back was just gorgeous. And so I read with those for some weeks. And not too long after, the 78 Tarot Project opened the Kickstarter for the 78 Tarot Nautical. So, tarot of the water, and lots of ocean imagery and lots of the blues and greens that I love. And so that was actually my first deck, and I eased into it through way of the Oracle deck.
Cool. Cool. So how long ago was that though?
About 6 years.
Oh wow. Alrighty. Alrighty. And I just want to mention, Pam, you've been through all this, so you're gonna have the cool questions. So you jump in whenever you want to ask Stephanie something. Ah, so how did this all come about? Like, I mean, are you self-taught? Did someone teach you? Um, both
Sure.
reading as
So,
well as the artistry, because you're making decks too.
absolutely. I studied on my own as many things as I could find, all of the deck books. I was very thankful that, again, with the 78 Tarot Nautical, the guidebook was a full book. It's a hardcover, and I was able to glean quite a lot from that because they gave both the deck creators' interpretations of the cards and also the artist's interpretation and the artist's notes on each card. And that really added a layer of depth for me. So I was able to learn quite a lot with self-study and felt pretty confident in my card meanings, but I wanted to make it official. So I went over to Biddy Tarot and got certified there. And so that was a few months of study and several exams, including reading exams. So that was quite the process, but
it is a lot.
it's really important to me that I show my commitment to giving the best possible readings. And so that's why I actually have more than one certification. That's why I'm certified with the Tarot Guild as well.
I was going to ask you that. I was going to wait till later in the show, because it's kind of plugging, what we do here. But I was really curious because I knew that you'd done Biddy, and by the way, I love her. And
absolutely.
And, oh, I remember interviewing, oh God, 14 years ago now.
Oh wow.
When I first interviewed her. But yeah, I was curious, why you would do multiple, it makes perfect sense to me, but I was curious for everybody else out there. And but what inspired you to do the Enchanted Shadows Oracle Deck, and why an Oracle deck and not a tarot deck? And are you going to come out with a tarot deck?
The tarot deck actually is in the making. I'm working with an artist for that. I am definitely not an artist. My brother and sister got those talents. But I'm working with an artist on both a tarot and Lenormand deck. So it'll be some warm colors, actually. We've got a very warm color palette for those two decks, and they'll be complementary. For the Enchanted Shadows, I started seeing some of the artwork on Pinterest. And you know how Pinterest is. You get in there and you get lost for hours. And so I started seeing some of this artwork. And it was a series by a Russian artist. And so I got in touch with them. I said, hey, could I buy the rights for about 50 of your artworks? And he said, no need to buy anything. Just go ahead and use them. Just give me a credit and show me what you're doing.
Oh, that was generous.
That was very generous. Yes. The images, I've edited everything slightly, but they remain primarily as they were when I found them on Pinterest.
What was his name? What's the artist's name?
Vasily.
Do you know what medium he goes by?
He goes by Vasily, just the one name.
Okay. The reason I'm asking, I'm curious about the what modality he used. Like, it's obviously not airbrush or drawings or whatever. So I'm curious about which art program he would have used, because it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's digital art. It looks like digital art to me.
He did everything in Dax's favorite colors. So I mean, hey,
I know.
But yeah, I'm really curious.
It was almost like it was on
medium
purpose, like I said.
It was. Of course it was.
I believe, I haven't confirmed with him exactly, but I believe he used photography for the basic scene and then used an AI overlay.
Oh,
okay. Nice. Nicely done.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, I love what they're doing with computer, not just well, AI. It's kind of interesting. I'm kind of on the fence on that one. I love it, and it makes me nervous. But by the same token, I mean, there's art programs. I mean, look at what Jerome Marchetti does. He uses,
Right.
pretty sure it's Photoshop CS6 or one of those programs, one of the Photoshop programs.
It's pure digital art where he's actually
All
doing
of it
it.
is.
Whereas
But
the thing
with,
that people complain
yeah,
about is the AI where, you know,
yes,
but see, I just see it as a tool. If you
exactly.
use AI to generate certain things, but then you're the artist going into programs and working on it and adding and changing things. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with that, you know, even if it's just collage, you know. Look at the Voyager deck from the 80s. I mean, that was literally cut out of magazines and you know, pasted on like we did in 4th grade. And it was, you know, literally a collage deck, and it became one of the most popular decks of all time.
And it's still around.
And it's still around.
Yep. And
Yeah.
which is odd because I mean, everybody has personal like different taste for different art styles. I know some people that really object to digital art, but you know, sweetie, get used to it because this is what we're going to be doing. When you're not doing it because it's easy, because I know I watched some of Chiro's presentations, and I'm using him as an example because he's probably the most well-known. He uses a drawing.
Oh, you froze up, Pam. Did Pam
Stylus,
freeze
which
up
means
for
he's
YouTube?
drawing by hand. Crap.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Wait, okay, you're back now.
That's okay.
You froze up for a
Stephanie
second.
froze up a couple of times.
Okay.
No, Stephanie freezes up on me a little bit too. So, but I can still hear her. So that's okay.
Yeah, I couldn't hear you. Your voice stopped like that for a second.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So
shit.
what you were saying, you were talking about how he actually uses a
stylus and a drawing tablet.
Right. And that's my point.
Hand drawn.
Right. That's my point. My point about this is that we used canvases and we used paint or watercolor or, you know, charcoal or whatever, because that is all we had. Now we have digital art where it's the same thing, folks. You're using a brush, but it's a pen, and you're using a
canvas is your screen,
but it's instead of a canvas, you know, it's a pad. And
the best part about digital art, you don't run out of supplies.
Exactly. You don't run out. And I mean, and like you have an infinite number of colors you can do. You're not limited to what you have in your tubes that you squish out and you mix together. You can do anything.
With Stephanie, I mean, it's the vision that counts. And she had the vision to see an oracle deck evolve from someone else's. Well, and you can tell every one of those images that they're done from the heart. They're not done thinking, oh, I'm going to sell this. They were done because this is how the soul speaks. And that's why that's a subtitle for the Steele Wizard, the language of the soul, because that's what I believe that divination is. And when I when I started looking at what Stephanie had put together, I thought, oh my God, because it's just stunning. And it really does. It speaks on a very deep cellular level. So well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
It is really great.
Thank
Stephanie.
you. I appreciate that.
Oh, I wanted to
going through.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Going through the artwork, all of them going through my creative process. Each image I did fine tune a bit, like I mentioned earlier, to bring more cohesiveness to the deck, because some of the images had maybe more of a blue tone than purple. There were a few that were quite different in tones, like leaning into the yellows and things. And so that did take some time to apply the correct filters to get all of the cards looking cohesive.
Oh, yeah. And that's something I wanted to mention, because you said earlier about the tarot deck in the works, learn them on. You know, it just popped on my head that it would be really cool if someone came out with an oracle deck, tarot deck, and learn them on deck, and they all have the same, well, I don't want to say theme, but maybe color palette or something, or same genre look to them. And you could have like a box set with all three in there, an oracle deck, a tarot deck, and a learn them on deck, you know. And when you said about you have those others in the works, that's what popped in my mind, was a 3-deck package set you could buy with all three of them in it.
That would be delightful. And
there you go. Free idea.
Wonderful.
Take it and run. Make lots of money.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask you if you had any advice, like, because I'm not an Oracle deck reader, and if I don't have the tarot structure, I'm kind of lost. And I really want to learn to read oracles, but is there any advice you have about, especially new people picking up an Oracle deck, especially your Oracle deck, and any particular, I don't know, advice for reading the Enchanted Shadows Oracle deck, how you would use it, things like that?
Certainly. Certainly. If you are new to Oracle decks or not very familiar, if you can learn tarot, you can 100% learn to read Oracle decks. The tarot has its structure, always the 78 cards with the 22 major arcana and the rest minor arcana in suits. So if you can learn a structure at that level of complexity, Oracle decks should be pretty simple because typically there's not a hierarchy in Oracle decks. And the fun thing about Oracle decks is that they can be any number of cards. You're not limited to just a few or 78. It can be any number of cards, though I have researched that many Oracle decks are around the 40 to 50 card mark. That's an average. But the other fun thing about Oracle decks is that they can be on any topic at all. So if you like fairies or Star Wars or Dungeons and Dragons or
all the above,
plants. Yeah, there are
baseball.
Oracle decks that are specific to so many different interests. And so with Oracle decks, there's something for everyone for sure. And I would say approaching my deck, I definitely would ask people to come with an open mind.
Mm-hmm.
It is Gothic and witchy, both of which aesthetics tie in with my spiritual path. They both evoke feelings of mystery in me, and so it takes me on a journey. My deck does. It takes me on a journey.
I've always
through
liked
different
that word,
aspects.
grimoire. Yeah, I've always liked that.
Indeed. Indeed. It is a fantastic word, but so many French words are. They really are. With my deck specifically, keeping an open mind, as I mentioned, and then how to use my deck. So with tarot cards or many oracle cards or Lenormand, typically one would start with a spread, multiple cards. For this deck, I would suggest pulling just one or two cards for the day, and they could be used as journaling prompts, meditation prompts, or you can actually, if you are a magic practitioner or getting into the practice of magic, these can be used to kind of guide your spell work for the day. So the card up right now is Glamours. Glamour magic is about projecting a confident appearance and the type of appearance that you would prefer for yourself. And so that can be easily tied in with your current self-care. So another example is numerology. That can be tied in with your tarot practice quite easily, and with your astrology as well.
Smoke scrying. Oh, I just love that. Yeah, you know what popped in my head was so the deck's coming out in September.
Yeah, 1st of September, actually.
So everybody can grab the deck and then they've got it for, wait for it, Halloween. It's a perfect deck for Halloween.
Yay! Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I did consider that. I actually would like to take the soapbox here now that I'm on camera and say that the 3 months, including October in the middle, so September, October, November, should really be declared spooky season or Halloween time. That would really be my vote.
Yes, I had a friend that was way more into Halloween and decorating. I mean, like from like the entire yard through the house all the way back in San Diego, and way more than Christmas. And it's like it's going that direction. It's like, okay, you guys can
Yes,
have
it is.
you can have Christmas, but we need spooky season, from with
Yes,
Day of the Dead
exactly.
and Halloween and everything. Yeah.
Mhm.
I agree with you. Hey, so Pam, what's running through your head? Questions for Stephanie? Anything you
Tell me
want
about
to
your book. Tell me about the book that comes with this.
know?
So that's interesting. I just was working on that today, actually. I work with makeplayingcards.com. That's who I'm going through to publish the deck. And as you can see, they've done a beautiful job with the cards. This is just their standard printing. I haven't requested anything extra, no upgrades. So I've been very pleased that all of the details are quite clear in the cards. That said, working with Make Playing Cards, it very well could be user error, but I'm finding it difficult to get a booklet to come out in a size that is readable and makes sense and fits within one of their offered formats. So I actually can show you, if you'll give me just a minute to step away, I can show you the booklet that came with the deck as it is now. Actually, nope, I don't have it there. I believe I have it here. But the booklet that came with the deck as it is now, the text is so tiny on some of the pages. Here it is. So you can see the first page, decent, but once you get into the meanings of the cards, it's microscopic. That just won't do.
Number 6 font. That's about a number 6 font. Nobody can read that without a magnifying glass.
It's much too small. Yes, I agree. It's much too small. And there are only a few formats that are offered, that standard formats that are offered through Make Playing Cards. I haven't been able to make things work with their other standard formats. And so what I've actually done today is to take the meanings and place them in a PDF. So now the deck comes with the link on the introductory cards that says, hey, step over here to get your meanings. And it's a PDF where you can see everything very clearly.
I did. Actually, I've done that with one of my decks, the second edition of the Steel Wizard. I had to do that because the only thing you might try with Make Playing Cards, if you really want to have a booklet included, take 2 pages per card. You should be able to do that because it's 50 cards, right?
Yes, it's 46 cards.
Okay,
right now.
Close enough. Okay, but what I'm saying is you can go with a thicker booklet.
Yes.
They can, and that would bring the font up.
Yeah, because you
pop a little, it'd be a little
each one in half, each page in half. So then it makes
because I just ran into a real good one. I got an email 2 days ago. And yeah, my girlfriend got it was a second edition, and it right on the box it says, for your PDF of this book, go to, and then I changed websites. So I sent him the new web link, and he gets back to me and he says, it's not working. And I went, what? So I went in and looked, and something happened to the PDF. And do you think I can get that thing to reload? So I finally said, look, here's a copy of it. Enjoy. I just emailed it to him. But that is an okay idea. It's a good idea, but you're going to have to really keep an eye on it because who's your website with?
I'm on WordPress. I'm WordPress hosted.
They're really good. They're really good. Well, Weebly's good. I mean, they're all competent because if they weren't, they wouldn't be in business. But you might think about that for your booklet. I mean, since it's not illustrated, you don't have pictures of your deck in there, so it's not going to be complicated.
A lot of people are going with that now with their decks, where they send you somewhere on the web, and there's a downloadable like PDF version of the book, a course. I mean, a lot of different things that connect with the deck. They do it that way by just putting the URL in there.
Yeah.
Yes, I've seen that too. One of my first Oracle decks actually had a PDF that I needed to go and download to get the meanings. So yesterday, while I was thinking about the deck and getting ready for the show, I had creative flow going on, and I came up with an idea to offer this as a freebie. So here, let me see if I can get under the camera properly. There we go. Yeah. So yes, these things that we used to use in middle school, where you spell out the color that the person you're reading for picks, and then you use the number inside that they choose. And then once they choose a second number, you open it up to reveal. And here we have, that's not perfectly clear, but a wand and ocean.
Oh, it cleared up for a second. Yeah, we were able to see.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful.
Cute.
That's adorable.
Yeah, candle and a stack of tarot cards. So it works a little bit like the Enchanted Shadows Oracle Deck does in pointing you to different practices and different tools that you can use in your practice.
Sweet. Yeah, I spotted that and downloaded it because it looks just too much fun, and I'm going to make some up for my kids. They'll love it.
It is too much fun.
Oh, my grandkids, not my kids. They're like 50 something. They don't care, but the grandkids are going to eat this up. Mom, what'd you send me that for?
Sometimes it's fun to have a little throwback and play.
It is. It is. And yeah, I was in grade school the first time I saw one, and that was back in the 50s. So yeah. Something about that. Anyway.
Yeah, with our colored pens in middle school, they came out with gel pens and glittery gel pens. And so those were just so much fun for making little paper fortune tellers.
We had chalk, and that was it. We couldn't even afford pencils.
Oh,
come on,
and
Dax.
It was 1893, and
I was wanting to ask you, did dinosaurs chase you as you were going to school?
Yeah, they always talk about them tigers, the saber-toothed tigers. It wasn't that. It was T-Rex was after my ass.
And by the way, they were covered in feathers.
That must have been such a struggle.
And I had feathers,
and they're not leather. So anyway, I think that my favorite one was one of my kids asked me one time, Mom, really, did they really have a great flood? And I said, yeah. And he says, so how come you didn't drown?
They
basically wanted to know if there was
Pamela.
If there was a great flood.
She can't hear me.
Why didn't I did? If there was a great flood, why did I not drown? Still no?
I got it. I got it now. Yeah, it took a while because you froze and your voice froze, and then you came back, and then we were in the middle of it, and then I didn't know that you had restarted. It got too confusing for me.
Did you get it?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Awesome. Anything else you want to ask Stephanie?
Well, why, quick question. I mean, I love it, but what caused you to choose that color palette? It's to me, it's a spiritual color, and that's kind of what I was wondering.
Absolutely. So my name, Stephanie, actually means crown and royalty. And I learned at a young age because I was a voracious reader. I read everything I could get my hands on, including cereal boxes. I knew the cereal box front, back, sides because I loved to read so much growing up. And I learned that purple was the color associated with royalty. And it's been one of my favorite colors, along with black and blue, since I was a child. And many of these cards were already purple tinted. Some of them were not, like I mentioned before. And so I did have to do some adjustments and fine tuning to get the colors to come together and be in a similar palette. But I have always loved the color purple. So that's,
yeah.
My
favorite is, my favorite's actually orange. But the thing is, it doesn't work for a lot of other uses, you know.
Yes.
And like, I don't wear a lot of orange because I don't think it works for me. But when we were coming up with the new website for the Tarot Guild and for our radio YouTube network, I was thinking about it, and I love purple also. And I thought, oh, it's regal, you know, and so we went with purple for the although we're going minimalist on the website, but you know, there's shadowing in purple and some purple fonts and things like that, you know. That's why I went with those colors. It's regal, you know.
Oh yeah. Okay, Stephanie, how long did it take you from, what was your inspiration to do this? I mean, what caused you to think, I'm going to make an oracle deck? What was your inspiration behind that? Seeing the images, was that what struck you? Like, how did this happen?
Yes, I had had the idea of creating a tarot deck for a few years. I love tarot. I love oracles. I love Lenormand as well. So that's why I was very pleased when the artist I was working with, am working with, suggested we start with Lenormand because that will take a lot less time with only 36 cards rather than the 78 of the tarot. So I had this idea, but it was kind of backburnered to make a tarot deck. And I went to a local arts festival, and I was in contact with a couple of the folks who were going to be displaying their art at this art festival. I was invited to come and read the tarot, set up a vendor space for that. And so I met two people at this festival, lovely folks, and both of them were tarot readers. One was a digital artist. So she goes by Maple Moth Witch, like maple, like the syrup, Maple Moth Witch online. And I thought her work was absolutely delightful. I saw one of her images before the show, and I instantly thought, there's my deck artist. So that was very exciting. And then when we met in person, we were so excited to meet in person, and we just started talking, and we were 10 minutes in before we even introduced ourselves properly.
By the way, I don't know your name, but I've been sitting here for 40 minutes with you, you know.
We were both just so enthralled in our conversation that it didn't matter.
You knew each other anyway.
A lot of people are chatting in the chat room, and they love your deck. They love the color scheme. They're talking about Halloween and Christmas. I mean, just about everything. You know, so many people have come in. So let me scroll back a little bit. I had mentioned Dan and Michelle. Charlotte made it in. One of our other hosts, Liz,
Charlotte,
Aditya, Rhonda, Pam Bear's in there, one of our regulars. Hi, Pam Bear. Who else came in? Astrid. It's a fun fest in the chat. Kate, Catfight. It's with a K. We call her Kate. And Nicholas is actually in there. Nicholas, by the way, makes the remark, orange is typical for Gemini planet Mercury. Yes, I'm a Gemini. I was born in June. And man, Nick, you are just dead on.
Nice.
How'd you even know that I was a Gemini? Anyway, maybe I mentioned it at some point. You know. Now my mom
might have, but some people have intuition about those things.
And my mom swears that's not why orange is my favorite color. It's because when she was pregnant with me, she had cravings and they had to run out all the time constantly and get her orange popsicles. And she ate all these orange popsicles. And she says, that's why my favorite color is orange. And let's see, Charlotte, I think that's everything. So what I did is I put in the chat, and let me say it again here. Let us know if you have any questions for Stephanie. So any questions about creating decks, authoring, deck art, publishing, and of course you have Pamela here as well, you know.
Yes.
And so this
How much
is
your deck? How much is your deck?
$30.
Okay.
Cool.
And we should have that. We should have someplace that they can. I need the link. We need the link in the YouTube.
Oh, yeah, it's on the page. It's on the pages. Yeah, I already have it linked.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see
Just
if I
so
can,
people can
grab it.
Actually, if you look above my head,
it's right there.
dreamstarot.com.
Go to dreamstarot.com shop.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
That's
so
almost
on
too
that
easy.
page,
But it's also down in the description for everybody.
Okay.
Yes. So on that page, you can sign up to get updates about the deck, and you can also get your fortune teller. If you go to, here we are.
Those are adorable.
Yes, you can get that as well at dreamstarot.com/shop.
We don't need, decks anymore. We'll just make those, and
Oh, yeah. I think that'll be
we'll
fine.
tell people's fortunes with those. Somebody in chat said, I remember that from grade school,
Exactly. Yes.
I didn't think anybody that wasn't at least 50, 60 years old even had seen those. I didn't know they still did them nowadays,
Oh, yeah.
That is so cool. Something that's been around since, my entire lifetime.
At least when I was in
years.
middle school.
Yeah.
So if we have a nuclear attack, we're going to have cockroaches in those. That's it? Because they're going to be around forever. Okay.
They've survived.
Just thought I'd add that.
Pretty much. So
okay,
if you guys have any questions about, publishing, anything along those lines, artwork, how to create your own deck, if you've always wanted to do your own deck. Nick, didn't you always want to do your own deck? Charlotte, Nick, who I know Michelle wants to do at least a Lenormand, maybe an Oracle deck. I think she's working on something like that. So if you guys got questions, this is, the best time to ask, because we've got people that can actually answer your questions about that. And then, if Stephanie's willing and wants to, try out her deck live on YouTube on camera, if you guys have any personal questions you want to ask that we could do a little mini reading on, pop them in the chat and let us know, and we'll give people some time to get their questions in chat. And Randa says that she wants to do a deck, and is it possible to take it from abroad, like shipping? Oh, I guess some of the folks in chat are, Europe and Asia. So they're wondering, I'm sure there's international shipping of the deck. Yeah.
Yes, Make Playing Cards does offer international shipping. Thank you for asking.
Very cool. And I'm looking for that link that I had down in the description here. Anyway, oh gosh. So I'm waiting to see if we get any questions. Nicholas says, hey, you know what would be really great is a sample 3-card pull. Yeah,
absolutely. We can do that.
I'm going to put you on speaker view so we can see the cards, and go ahead.
All right.
Let's do an example.
Stephanie, do they have reverse meanings or just upright?
Just upright.
Okay.
But I feel like just like with reverse tarot cards, they can be the opposite of the meaning, or could be a more internalized process. So yeah, these cards could certainly be used reversed.
Okay.
All right. So we are going to choose our cards. And just as a reminder, this deck points to different beliefs and practices that you may come across in the craft. And so typically I would recommend that this be used for, again, a journal prompt, perhaps a meditation subject, or to actually complete the practices that are included. All right. So first, we've got the air card. And the element of air is about our thoughts, truth, the mind. And so I would suggest with this card that you pay attention to what you're thinking about. Remember that our thoughts become our words, words become actions, actions become patterns. So definitely pay attention to what's going through your mind regularly, because those grooves can become worn in. So we want to make sure that what's in our minds repeatedly, frequently, is something uplifting, something that works well for us rather than focusing on the negative. Whatever you focus on tends to improve. And it's shown, research shows that anything you begin to actually measure, like writing down your mood, or writing down your main thoughts of the day, anything that you begin to measure will also improve. So the next card we have is enchantments. And in the card detail, you can see we have like a locket here, a piece of jewelry, necklace here, a few other little bits and baubles, and including a phone. And so enchantments, craft-wise, you can infuse an object, especially something that you carry with you regularly. Like say you have a favorite watch or favorite necklace, favorite ring, something simple like that that is frequently with you. You can infuse that object with your intentions. And so if you're interested in, say, increasing your wealth and prosperity, you could enchant a ring, necklace, your wallet, even, because that's frequently with us, by holding it and either in your mind or aloud, speaking what you would like to come into being to your object. And that is a simple method of enchantment. And so third, we have the sanctuary card. There we are. Nope, trying to get it to focus. That's all right. It will come in. There we are. So sanctuary is, I don't mean specifically our physical, like bricks and mortar religious institutions. While it could certainly mean that, if that's meaningful to you, to me, sanctuary is any place where you are safe and able to rest without fear of being disturbed, basically. And so this can be a place in your mind, whether you have an astral temple or simply just a space during your self-care where you relax and work on your positive thinking. Sanctuary could also be, say you have a certain friend's house and that friend has the perfect living room or something like that, the perfect sitting room. That place could be your sanctuary. And so pulling this card definitely points us toward that safe space where we can really relax, breathe, and get comfortable.
Well done.
Awesome.
Well done.
Thank you.
So real quick, I want to go back to the chat because lots of great things popping up in there. Let's see. In some countries, Pam says, this is the other Pam, Pam.
Other Pam.
Some countries, it was illegal to wear purples with punishment of up to death in some cases and very steep fines. It's like, yeah.
Yes.
Same with yellow in the Orient. for years that if you wore yellow in China, you could be beheaded.
Right.
Mhm.
I'm not sure. Catfight Kate is asking, I'm not sure what she means exactly. I think I get it, but it's like, do you think that she says but I think she's talking about you, Stephanie. Do you think you, as the creator of this deck, have imbued it with some particular intuitive or spiritual gift of yours? That's an interesting.
Oh, yeah, that is an interesting question. Thank you, Kate. I do feel that I have imbued it with my spiritual intentions for anyone using the deck or anyone who's receiving a reading with the deck, like we did here just a moment ago, to have clarity around what they're seeking, have clarity around their question and the answers, for them to easily be connected to the idea in the card in the way that makes the most sense to that person. So, yeah, thank you. That's a great question.
Awesome. I'm looking at some other stuff. We were talking about dragons and what we should put on our decks.
I
love dragons. And Pamela here, Pamela Steele, her cards, a lot of them in her decks have dragons, and that's why I absolutely love her decks.
Well, I got crazy last week and drew a portrait of a dragon. I don't know whose dragon it is. It's blue. It's it's hanging on my door back there because I don't have a frame for it. But I haven't drawn by hand in years.
Wow, so you got inspired.
Well, they've been so sore for so long, too much arthritis, but that's why I went to digital. And that's how I know about pens and stylus and things like that, or tablets and stylus. And it just out of the blue, I realized what I was missing, and that's what I was missing. And so I went and, after my brush with death a few months ago, I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it again. It took me 4 times longer to do this because I had to keep stopping because my hands won't.
Right.
They won't. But when I was done, I thought, I can still do that. So I was pretty excited, and I don't know what I'm going to do with it now, but it's just sitting there. So somebody might get it for Christmas,
There we go. I'm always open because, I like to draw. I know. Michelle. Okay. There's so much in chat. Oh my God. Michelle says, yes, I am working on a Learn 'em on. Charlotte says, I have not even entertained the idea of creating my own deck, but if I did, it would have dogs, sheep, and goats, all of which who think they are unicorns. Yeah, it's actually an old a long story.
Everyone has aspirations, so excellent.
Yeah, it's actually a long story where Charlotte, like her one goat, because she does animal communication, revealed that she's actually a unicorn in goat disguise.
Fantastic.
There you go. And there was a question from Randa. Are there steps to follow or rules to create a deck? And I'm just going to say off the top of my head, the beauty of it is there are no rules. Now, yes, there's a structure to tarot. If you're going to create a tarot deck, the 78 cards, the major arcana, the minor arcana, the 5 suits, 4 suits of the minor arcana, 1 through 10, ace through 10, the core cards, blah, blah, blah. There is a structure. So that could be considered maybe a rule. Although Pamela here broke the rule because, Steel Wizard has, especially the 3rd edition, has all these other cards besides the 78. And a whole nother court set, the maidens. But generally there's a structure. But the beautiful thing is, in general, especially Oracle cards, there's no rules. You could make, you mentioned, Stephanie, there's an average 50 something cards, for an Oracle deck, but you could have an 80 card Oracle deck or a 44 card Oracle deck, or, but do either of you, Stephanie or Pam, have anything that comes to mind that you would think of that are like rules or ways that you have to create? I don't think there are, but
I wouldn't say rules. I don't really care for rules anyhow. I find them, at best, somewhat informative, but mostly meant to just, be scattered to the wind. because they're typically not made for the people who are really actively enjoying whatever that thing is that has those rules around it. With a deck, though, just keep in mind that the process will take longer than you think. Be patient. Don't try to fly through creating all of your cards in a weekend. It's unlikely that you would be able to produce that much in a weekend. I'm not going to say it's not possible, because people have all different levels of excitement and enthusiasm and ability too, along with the medium you use for your artwork, for your deck.
Okay.
No, rules are just guidelines.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I've ever, in fact, when in both
Or
of
she mentioned steps too. I mean, what would be the steps? Like, I guess people do different things in different order when
one thing I do
creating.
suggest is whenever you're designing a deck, you go with the 4-to-1 ratio. You do the original art 4 times the size of the deck you want to create, because that way, when you're blowing them up to poster size, and a minimum of 300 DPI when you do scan them in or photograph them, it has to be that big.
That
I've
is
got
great advice. Yeah.
Posters on vinyl, like massive posters on vinyl of the Steele Wizard, but the originals for those were 9x14, and they were big drawings, which is probably the reason I wrecked my hands. But yeah, go big or go home. Even if you're doing it online or with a computer generated, make your original bigger and
Yes.
and go with a higher DPI on it, because if you don't, I promise you, it's going to pixel out the minute you blow it up to the 16x20. It's just boom.
So basically, one of the steps should be planning out the steps.
you have to be able to visualize your finished product on the shelves, using it. You have to be able to see it, you know what it feels like. And if you can hook onto that feeling and hold it.
But what I was going to say is thinking beyond the cards. You got to remember that if you're doing artwork, people are going to want to put it on their t-shirts, their hats, their coffee mugs. They're going to want to have prints that they can put on the wall.
Seriously, I've had people tattoo my artwork from the tarot on them. I know one man, and he had the universe card tattooed on his back.
Oh my God.
And I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, good thing he was a big guy. I mean, that was massive.
That is massive.
And I kept looking at it, and finally I said, there's a few alterations. And he said, yeah, but he had permission. He paid me to do it or to use it. But it had his girlfriend's face, which I found interesting. She's a pretty girl, so I don't care. I mean, once you start, go nuts, but that's how he saw her. And yeah, tattoos, why not? Go nuts.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking, how instead of waiting till after the deck comes out, if you're going to do a deck, it's not just creating the artwork and then getting it all situated, with the publisher and all. It's also think ahead and already have all of that ready. Already create a store, a digital store online where people can drop ship, order t-shirts and everything with all your images and do examples, and have everything already set up so you don't have to scramble after the deck comes out and they go, oh my God, I love this art. Can I get a print? And then you have to scramble to do all this stuff. Think way ahead. It's not just the deck.
No, it's
everything else, and then
everything connected. And as far as the book, when you're doing it,
that's what I was going to go to next, was the book.
Each piece, keep notes, because you're the only person that can really describe how you're feeling and what you're feeling on a core level, on a molecular level, even. Whatever you're feeling, even if it's just one word, keep notes. And this is for card such and such, and this, even if they don't have actual titles, give it one and go from there. Because when you go to put that book together, you're going to think, what was I thinking? because you've done so many at that point, you just not sure where to put your hat, as it were. So did you find that too, Stephanie? Like when you go to write the book, you had to kind of, what the heck? Did you keep notes?
I feel like my cards are simplistic enough and focused enough that I didn't struggle with my card meanings. I was coming up with the meanings as I came up with the cards, and I was keeping notes throughout, as you said. That was super helpful.
Yes.
I was starting with just the artwork, and so it was entirely my conception, what I thought of when I saw that artwork.
Perfect. It's like keeping a journal, a tarot journal, as you're doing the deck.
Absolutely. So I saw this image with the stained glass windows there and the round window above the rose window. And to me, that says sanctuary. So for me, it wasn't difficult, but I definitely see what you mean, especially if you're creating a larger deck, to need to go back and reference your notes on what you were thinking for that particular card.
Okay.
Cool. Cool. Hey, do we want to do a couple of card pulls for some people?
Certainly.
Aditya way earlier on had asked for just a general reading, like a general card pull. So maybe if you want to pull a card or two for her and just see what comes up.
All right. What's her name again, please?
Aditya?
Alethea?
Aditya.
Aditya. All right. Thank you for your question. All right. We've got crystals. Crystals. So whether you have crystals or jewelry with gemstones, or even, don't laugh, even just rocks that you find outside that you really love, any of those count as crystals. Or if you have maybe some beautiful etched glass, I would count that in the wider realm of crystals. So there may be something that's meaningful to you, something that's got a special memory related to it. And I don't know if that's a piece of jewelry or a piece of crystalware, perhaps, that's been handed down to you, but there's something special in your memory that wants you to bring it up and focus on the positive energy around that. Thank you for your question.
Awesome. Very cool. Oh, Dan says, Pamela Steele, you're my, Dan says to Pamela, I'm your biggest fan. I don't know why I wrote your. Yeah. Okay. So he is your biggest fan. He's trying to tell you. Sorry, I screwed that up. Anyway, and then Dan asked Stephanie, do you see a move to the Northwest to another state?
Okay. We can have a look.
Yeah. Just see what comes up.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, we have a reverse card, but I feel like that is part of what we needed to pull for Dan. And we've got crystals again. Interesting. Oftentimes I feel like when we do readings for folks in groups, parts of those readings are not just for that specific person. I feel like often when we do readings in groups like this, there are parts of the message that apply to other people who are also watching. So everything that I was mentioning about the crystals, it could be crystalware, something related to someone you love. And then also the beloved dead has come up for you. And so I'm wondering if you have some insight into your ancestry, whether it's just to your great grandparents or whether it's beyond that. If you've got folks or had folks who lived in the area, that could be a strong possibility. I would look into that if you're not aware of any family who lived in the area you're considering moving to. Thank you.
Cool, cool. Okay. And then Kate had, that's cat fight, Kate. She asked a couple of questions. Did you outline your deck? And like, how did you know that it was complete for you? And did you outline the deck like each card before you started creating it? Or did you just start creating it?
That's a great question, because that's absolutely how I would handle a tarot or Lenormand deck. I would absolutely outline and probably list maybe just a few words for each card with my vision for what I would like those cards to be. That's a really good question. For this deck, though, I use as many images as seem to fit. The artist produced quite a lot of similar images, similarly themed. So there was a large photo set basically for me to choose from. And with each image, when I looked at it, I knew right away whether it was an image I wanted to use in this deck or was not. So I feel like my process creating this deck was a little bit different, a little bit backwards to what we would do in a structured deck, because I started with my artwork present already instead of coming up with the concepts of the cards that we would outline and then creating the art to meet those items in your outline. Good question.
Awesome. And she also asked, could you pull a card? Should I move? Another moving question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It might be just a moving kind of considering time.
Yeah. A lot of people want to move, apparently. Could be. By the way, while you're getting ready with the card there, I want to mention Dan had put in here. Well, the reason why Pamela's deck has so many more cards is because Pamela is special.
You know what? Some of us are just extra, and that's all right.
Whoa.
Just extra special. Yes.
Extra in a movie. One of the guys in the background that's drinking beer. That's me. I don't drink beer, but anyway, it was a thought.
So there are two cards that want to come out for this moving question. So Sanctuary, you would be, if you were moving, you would be moving somewhere that felt safe and like home to you. You would be moving, even if it's a place you've never seen before. It definitely would be a case of knowing as soon as you see the place, whether that was where you were going to move or not. You would have an immediate sense of it. And so the second card that came up is Spirit. I would absolutely pay attention to your own energy as you are considering whether to move. I feel like you've got most of the answer already settled within yourself, and you maybe just need a little bit of motivation, a little bit of somebody understanding where you're coming from to have the courage to actually make the move. I do feel like it's indicated that a move would be good for you in a number of ways, in a number of areas in your life. So definitely keep in mind as you're looking somewhere that feels really safe and like a place you can curl up and rest or go out and do as as your moods change, as your ideas of what you want to be doing for your day change. There should be options, a number of options that feel very familiar to you, even if they aren't technically familiar. And stay definitely with your energy. Feel into how you are when you think about yourself in a specific space. On the other side of the spirit card, I would pay attention to the energy of the place as you walk in. Does it feel like sanctuary or does it not? Is it just a nice place, or is it a place you feel like is for you? Or is it haunted?
I saw spirit and I thought haunting.
You know what, Dax? Some people might be all right with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Dan had some feedback. Wow, Stephanie, that was awesome and spot on. I'm intuitive and empathic and a very old soul. And Nick pulled some cards for him too. That was really nice. And then let's see what else. Oh, Pena says, I want to move too. It's crazy. In fact, I think Pena had asked us like literally yesterday about a move to a particular place. I forget what it was, the name. Hey, Pena, where was it you were thinking of moving? Anyway, we pulled cards for her yesterday. What? Oh, Charlotte says, I think I need a dragon to show me where I'm meant to move to. Yeah, it's funny because Charlotte's also been thinking of a move for months now. And
interesting.
It's weird stuff with the moves. It's all coming at once.
That's very interesting to me because I find that September specifically is a month of changing jobs for me. So if I'm going to make a career change or if I've decided to move into a different workplace, I found this out just by reviewing my resume and my work history. I didn't actually, know it top of mind, but I discovered that end of August, anytime during the month of September, which is also my birth month. So I'm not sure what significance that has too. But September is the time when, if I'm thinking about making a change, that I feel like is time to go ahead and make the change.
Awesome. And Pena also says, deck seems deep. Okay, so your deck seems deep. And then Liz had asked, can you pull some cards for her love life for the rest of the year? See what comes up.
Sure. For the rest of the year,
well, just see what comes up. Just see what comes up. Yeah.
Yes,
I don't know if you can do the rest of the year.
But then again, we are in August. We're in the 8th month already. There are only 4 more months. So yes, we can look at the rest of the year by pulling 2 cards. Just need to think about that for a second. Okay. So sigils, these are symbols that have a very specific personal meaning. So I feel like we're talking a lot about jewelry today, but I feel like this may be a piece of jewelry. I don't know if it's a signet ring or a bracelet, maybe with your initials engraved. But I feel like there's a specific piece of jewelry that's going to make the difference in your love life. It's I don't have anything beyond that, but I feel like it's a significant piece of jewelry. All right, and then the other card we have is herbs. I consider anything that's earth-based and natural to be positive. So I would say growth. As you know, herbs are plants, and as they grow, their abundance allows us to take cuttings and have herbs for the craft or cooking or decorating your home, making your home smell nice, those things. But I definitely feel like herbs is a positive card. So looks like growth is what's coming up.
Terrific. Oh, I got to take it off speaker view. I'm still getting used to, using the Zoom and doing the speaker view so we could see the cards and everything. La, 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 la. Liz says, I wear a silver necklace all the time with my first initial E.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Perfect.
it was gifted from my mom who passed away, who has since passed away. What else is going on here? Charlotte said, today's the first time I felt like dragon guidance is the way to go. Absolutely. You know, I'd let you borrow my dragon deck if I was there. I actually have a couple of dragon decks. Pena says it was Goa where she was moving to, and no, that this was somebody else, not her, but she mentioned how Goa is in India. But then Pena says, but I'm moving too.
It's that time, apparently.
Wow. Just crazy. I think we actually got all of the questions.
Okay.
That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Boy, this has been great. A lot of great information. And I hope there's a lot of, budding deck creators out there that got some great information to work with and so forth. Oh God, there was
Absolutely. New decks are always such fun. It's so much fun to see the themes that people choose and how they choose to present their cards.
Yes.
New decks are always great fun.
Yes. And I still, I'm old enough to be around when there was like 3 or 4 decks, period.
Mhm.
I mean, that was it.
Yeah.
Now we've got, tens of thousands of decks,
Yeah.
a lot of them have come into life and they're out of print now and they're gone. Thousands of decks have come into life and gone away. And then we still have, maybe 5,000 in print right now. And more coming all the time. I mean, just go to Kickstarter and, go fund,
Right.
and, those kind of places and, look up tarot or card decks or oracle decks on Kickstarter and you get all these projects.
Absolutely. Mhm.
It's
Stephanie,
unbelievable.
are you part of
Yes.
the Tarot Deck Creators group?
Oh, there's a group
I
Yeah.
don't
Pamela
believe so.
started.
That would be great. Mhm.
It's on
Okay, yeah.
That would be
Facebook.
great.
I can add you to it, and then when your deck is really ready to rock and roll, we've got a public page that we do our advertising and stuff on, and it's got, gosh, way over 3,000 people on it now, and a really good response to that. So I'll make sure to get that up for you. I'll
Thank
get you on
you.
the
Thank you so much.
I'll get you in the group, and then when the time comes, then you can post it too. But
Mm-hmm.
sometimes if an admin does it, it just carries more weight. So I'll do it too. Okay.
Well, I am newer to being back in tarot business. I took about a 2-year break from reading publicly and offering readings for other people. So it's a lot like starting from scratch in the tarot reading business. So definitely growing and seeing a lot of interest, which of course I love. It's always so much fun to connect with new folks around the tarot, especially. But it would be absolutely delightful to have a bigger group support. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Sure. And then when the deck comes out, we can have you back again.
Yes.
Do another interview, and as your
Yeah.
other projects start to develop and so forth. So how much longer you think till a Lenormand or a tarot deck?
The tarot deck will be a couple of years in the
That takes a
making.
long time.
Yes, it does. And my artist projects between 2 and 3 years for the tarot deck. Whereas the Lenormand, we could probably finish in about a year.
Cool. Well, you're going to have to make a lot of appearances back on the show here. And what we should do is on Psychic Cafe, create your own group just for your decks where people can go and have
Be
conversation.
delightful.
It'd be so cool. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a great idea.
Couple of quick announcements. If you want to grab us a cup of coffee, go over to psychic.cafe/coffee. Don't forget the sizzling summer sale at psychic.cafe/summer. 50% off everything. You can join the guild and get certified, just like Pamela and just like Stephanie here. Get your professional certification, guild membership. My course is half price. And also readings and life coaching sessions with me are half price. Our next live show is tomorrow with guest co-host Charlotte Quarnberg. That's right. And remember, you can become a host on the network. Go over to psychic.cafe/hosting to see all the different ways you can become a host on the network. You know, if you've always thought about doing your own show, your own podcast, your own YouTube live show or something, but you're afraid of the learning curve. Hey, we've been doing this for 14 years. We could help you out. That's right. And our next Q&A is coming up on the 25th. That's next Sunday, a week from today. So if you have questions about the tarot, learn them on, oracle cards. If you have questions about numerology, if you have questions about joining the guild, becoming a professional tarot reader or advisor, psychic advisor, numerologist, what have you, if you have questions about being a guild member, becoming a guild member, professional certification, putting your business on Psychic Cafe, or as I mentioned, becoming a host. That's what these live Zoom discussions are. And also, if you are enrolled in my course, Tarot by the Numbers, the twice monthly live Q&A for the course is also this. That's right. So second and fourth Sundays, it'll be the 25th this month. Go to psychic.cafe/Zoom to grab the Zoom link. And, you know, it's 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, but you guys can pop in 20 minutes, 10 minutes, half hour early, because we always have the Zoom open way earlier if you want to come join us. Okay. All righty. So I guess time to get out of here. And I want to thank you, Stephanie, for being here with us, and Pamela.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Yeah,
Stephanie, it was lovely to finally get to meet you. So please, very, very nice. And I will follow up on that ASAP.
Yes.
You too. Thank you.
Come back and hang out with us. Oh, and
sounds good.
In the green room, before Stephanie even got to the camera, hubby was setting everything up. And so we have to do a shout out to her tech geek.
That's right. Yes, my husband Will got everything set up. Yes.
Awesome.
Can I borrow him?
Oh, what'd you say?
I said I need
maybe
to borrow
briefly.
her husband.
Oh yeah, can I borrow your
just
husband?
Briefly?
I only for technical difficulties.
Yeah. Bye everybody. Bye Stephanie.
Bye guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.